all my crazy theories around X, all my crazy theories around him and just thrown out the window. He's just a regular Joe Schmo. He's just a regular guy that just wants to go home and be a normal guy. He's not some crazy alien. He's not from a tropical island that everybody worships him there, and that's why nobody knows who he is. He's just a regular Joe Schmo. Now, I mean, it could still possibly be something else to it. I mean, the idea that he snaps his finger and he becomes a different person, the possibility that maybe he's possessed by an alien and he's snapping his fingers becomes the alien. It could still be something else. I'm kind of wondering if possibly the reason why nobody knows him is because he disguises himself. And since he knows Smile, that maybe this other persona was a hero at some point. There's got to be a reason why he's so powerful and he just pops up out of nowhere. Who knows this guy so much that he is that strong? It's weird, unless it's just that his abilities are so broken. He doesn't really need much trust value. It's just so broken because, again, it bends reality. But it was so funny. I think that's like the top point of episode 21, which, by the way, 3 more episodes. That's crazy to think about now. Top point of this episode is just the fact of learning the fact of this guy. It was when Smile comes in there and I'm like, who's this guy? He's got black hair, and I know that the black hair guy is always the X guy. And the moment he said snap your finger and chat with me, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's X. All my theories. Just throw them out the window. Anyways, let's get to the episode proper. I have so much to talk about. I think the big points here is obviously seeing what seems to be the downfall of Nice, what actually happened there, meeting Meliodas, full counter Dragon Boy, which is a LOL moment there, but that I don't care much for. But let's get into it. Let's open up the episode. Yes, we do meet Dragon Boy. He's kind of swimming around this ocean in the middle of the snow, and guys are making fun of him, and he says he's going to take out the trash, gets beat up a bunch, and then beats them all up. I thought maybe at that moment that it was going to be the fact that he's just super like high defense and he just doesn't fall. He's that type of person. He always gets back up. He always recovers. But anyways, yes, Rock just happens across him. Just Rock happens to be in the location, walks up and just says, hey, you want to be a candidate to become a god? And he's like, yeah, can I be like Zero and I can clean up all the trash? Yeah, sure. You'll become a god. Shrug. Like, I'm assuming we're going to get more Dragon Boy. Because so far, this episode total, I just don't care for this dude. Like, he is probably the worst rogue character so far in this series. He just hates people, wants to take out trash. I'm assuming next episode is probably going to be, like, the actual downfall of Nice, and maybe some little snippets here and there of pre-meeting Rock, of why he was swimming around the ocean. There's got to be more to this guy's story, because so far, I have zero cares for this character. Like, I don't like Yang anymore, but that's story reasons, and it's a really good story. But I just don't care for this Dragon Boy so far. Anyways, we cut over to Dragon Boy talking with Rock about their current plans. The whole thing with the ruin incidents happened, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to get Dragon Boy into the top 10. But everybody's got like too much tension on them, so their focus is going to shift towards, specifically, Smile. And they point out the fact that this guy has been in the top 10 for decades. And he's pretty much became like a household name. Like, he's been there for so long, nobody even questions that he's there. He's just been there for so long. Everybody just likes the guy. Interesting that he's been there for so long, but yet not seen as a threat. I think that's because he's never raised up. He's just always been there. It was kind of funny to see that Smile comes back in the picture after so long, because I thought he was just going to be like a side character in Boa's story. And it turns out this guy's like inspiring Nice. It's so great. But yeah, this whole little conversation, again, I just don't care for these two. I don't care for Rock, and I just don't care for Dragon Boy so far. But anyways, because he's been a household name for so long, it seems like no bad press or anything that he could dig up is going to take this guy down. They need a secret weapon. So he specifically brings out a box and gives Dragon Boy. Dragon Boy bops it open, and I'm assuming this is the pendant that he brings to Smile later on. Question is, why the hell does Rock have a pendant of Smile's daughter in a box sitting around his room? Like, did he kill the daughter sometime? Did he just steal it from her at some point? What? Did the daughter throw it away because she doesn't like her father anymore? How does he have this pendant, and why is it in a box just sitting around his office? I get that it's a secret weapon. It's a lethal weapon to Smile, because how do you defeat Smile? Well, you find out later on, his weakness is losing his smile. He only uses his full potential when he's smiling, so remove that smile. That was what Dragon Boy was doing the entire time. He was trying to make him angry, so he stops smiling, and it makes him weak. So it makes sense that this is basically his kryptonite. But it's still like, why does he have this? Where's the daughter? Hopefully we find out next episode. But anyways, that's when we cut over to Nice, and he's getting a little photo shoot with Miss J. My gosh, this scene. I had hope for Shang. I knew that Shang was going to do bad things, because Shang is mad. Shang hates Rock. Again, I'm assuming that he knows that Rock was involved in his son's death. This is a father that lost his son, and he's broken, and he wants revenge. But damn the manipulation, dude. My gosh, the manipulation in this scene was so thick. It's not even funny. But yes, he's taking pictures. He's got a fake smile. They're criticizing it. And at some point, yes, Smile shows up. Smile shows up and says, hey, boy, get rid of that commercial smile. It comes from deep within your heart. It makes the muscles move on their own. You got to think of something that makes you smile. And he thinks back into his past. You see the little past Nice, and he's a little kid just reading the magazine. He's got the little picture of Smile, and he's, yes, a big fan of Hero Smile. I'm like, oh, no, I don't like where this is going. I don't like where this is going. You got over here, you got Dragon Boy and Rock talking about taking out Smile. And then over here, yeah, this whole situation. But yes, eventually he does smile. We got to see Zen at some point. I think that was Zen in his past too. So I guess at some point, which makes sense because I think that Zen may have been involved in their company. Either way, Zen's like involved with everybody, which is starting to make me really sus of the guy. I feel like Zen's involved with everybody. It's making me start to feel very sus about him. But anyways, eventually he does smile. A true smile. My job here is done. Smile goes and walks away. Then Shang shows up. Again, this whole moment right here, my gosh. The moment he walks up, what are you doing here? I told you to lay low. I'm not even finished cleaning up your last mess. Nice immediately looks down. It is crazy how afraid of Shang Nice is. And I honestly got that whole impression back there when we had that scene where Shang said that he was leaving Nice. I'm going to leave you to Miss J. You're a failure. I don't want failures to be tacked to me. If you're never going to be top 10, I'm done with you. You're a failure. Again, back there, Nice was afraid of him leaving him. And it gives me a sense here where this is a deep-rooted psychological connection that Shang has with Nice. Maybe when Nice was very young, he brought him in, and he's been manipulating him the entire time. And it could be tied to Nice and how the fact that he's so connected to perfection, which could be designed by Shang. Again, he designed Nice around the idea of fear and perfection. And he could have done that purposely because it's easy to control Nice on the idea that you're failing to meet my expectations, you're not perfect. But it's still crazy right here in front of Nice. I didn't make you a hero to smile. I didn't spend all that time on you for nothing. I did this so you can get my revenge. I did this for you for vengeance. You have to take down these two. Get to the tournament, take out Isol, take out Rock. That's your purpose. Now go over there, that old man right there, get rid of him. Dead or alive, take his spot. Get in the tournament. The entire time, Nice is looking straight down. He can't even look Shang in the face most of the time. He's afraid of Shang. Again, he could flick Shang's forehead and blast his head off. But he's afraid of him. This goes back to this whole idea that I love they kind of gotten into with a lot of these characters, a lot of the managers, and how they control individuals. Again, Mickey with like Boa and Queen, a lot of it had to do with like family. We're all in this together. You're going to sacrifice something for him. I will sacrifice something for you. You will sacrifice something for her. It's a family controlled like an evil father. With Zach, with FOMO, it's all in the system. The system's going to make you successful. He doesn't have a sense of control. Rock, it's grooming the hell out of them. Rock, it feels like grooming the hell out of them. Shang, it feels like psychological manipulation. It's all psychological manipulation, obviously, but Shang with Nice feels so twisted. It's not even funny. It sucks. Like, I felt so bad for Nice in this moment. I don't like Nice because I know how twisted he is and what he was willing to do back there, but I still feel like I feel bad and I have an empathy for him with how manipulated he is by Shang. Technically, again, with that whole situation with the ruins, it was manipulation there too. This is a boy that is afraid of Shang, and he's afraid of being left behind. Ugh. Again, that whole scene was so good. It was so good. But anyways, as Shang's talking, we kind of get like a side-by-side of both Rock and him. Shang talking to Nice and Rock talking to Dragon Boy. And what it reveals here is that, yes, it looks like this next tournament is really, really crucial. This next one is your chance to get X. Why that seems to be is because the commission apparently right now is trying to avoid another tragedy like Downfall. They've enacted an execution order on current X, which has us when we cut over to the commission, where they're having this conversation talking about people exceeding the trust value too much, where a vast majority of people have come to somebody as an individual believer. And that person becomes a god. And yes, this is tying into the whole situation with Zero. We all witnessed what happened with Zero. Gods are great because they give blessings, but they can also destroy the entire world. And in order to prevent that, that is what the commission is here for. And thus, the current X needs to go. He's been X for too long. They do not want him to be X for a fourth time. Even though it's their fault that he's been that because that whole incident, they could have let the tournament still happen, but they left him there. So yeah, that pretty much confirms a lot of that discussion around, again, the downfall, the idea of Zero, and apparently that downfall is Zero. They caused this big incident because they became a god, and everybody feared them because they killed another hero, and thus they had to take them down. I'm assuming the reason why they're saying that this is a perfect time to become X is because the commission's backing them. So if you go to the tournament, they're going to do everything they can. They're probably going to let you do things that you normally wouldn't be able to do as long as you can take him down. Like they were kind of insinuating with Vortex. Again, Vortex was having somebody be their healer as they were apparently taking somebody out. Right here, what I can see them doing possibly is the commission would overlook, say, Lucky giving Queen a bunch of luck before she goes in to fight X. That's pretty much what I'm assuming they're talking about here. No rules, basically. They're going to overlook anything. But yes, that's when we cut over to Smile, heading to somebody's apartment, which turns out to be X. Again, that was a bit of a shock there. Kind of just come in there, sits down, got some skewers, and just crack open some drinks, and hey man, snap your fingers so we can have a chat. This other self is like too reality for me. I want this other self of yours to come out. Which, yes, it kind of makes me believe the two of them have like different personalities. But it does seem like he's aware of his other self. So again, I think that's just an element of, that's his persona. He does that as a disguise in order to do something. But again, just kind of breaking all my expectations for X himself. This is a guy that's like, yeah, they're going to take you out. They don't want you to be X anymore. They want to, remove you from the pedestal. What's his response? Cool. That sounds great to me. I didn't want to be there anymore. I'm done with this stuff. I'm tired of it. I don't want to be there anymore. If somebody wants to take it, go ahead. It's fine. Again, I had all this expectation that X was purposely there to stop something. I had this theory about him wanting to stop Queen because Queen would get too strong. I literally thought he was going to be somebody that's trying to stop somebody from becoming too powerful, that he had some sort of insight in the future. And yeah, like the whole thing with like Nice and Moon, I had these theories about him trying to warn Nice and all this crap out the window. I cooked way too much on X just for this to happen. I am in shambles. It's not bad. I'm not angry. It's fine. It's my fault for overcooking. I hope they do something really cool with them, but it's still funny. I had to laugh at myself. But yeah, we got a little bit into Smile himself and the fact that he's always smiling. That's presumably his curse. Again, for him to use his full potential, he has to smile, and it seems like no matter what's going on with him, he's always smiling. We do find out later on that he cannot smile, but it seems like this is sort of his curse. He's always smiling. His wife apparently left him. The daughter's already out of the house and she's gone. She never talks to him anymore. But his pain is the fact that, yeah, his wife says that he smiles for everybody else, but not his own daughter. He doesn't give a smile to his daughter or something like that. And that she bought them both a pendant, and inside of it has a photo, and the daughter's scowling in the photo. I hated this because, yes, right here he says that he asked her why the daughter's scowling in the photo, and she's like, well, I looked at your photos, and none of the photos of her has her smiling. It was like almost like a gut punch to him that he never brought a smile to his daughter's face. But as we find out later on, the photo that's in the pendant that his daughter had, she's on his shoulder and she's smiling. And I'm like, oh, that's she lied to him. She lied to him. No, he made her smile back there. Oh, that was so mean. That was so mean. What a nasty mom. What a nasty mom. But again, it's him telling X that, no, you think that I'm always smiling, that I can handle all this hero stuff for so long, but I'm hurting inside. I'm going out there and I'm making everybody else smile, and I'm seeing happy families, and I go home to look up at an empty ceiling. It implies again that he's going home to an empty house. He has nothing. It sucks. It sucks. But anyways, he goes to leave, runs into Dragon Boy. Number 12 Dragon Boy confronts him, says he's got something to trade for his position. I don't recognize that. Well, you recognize what the picture is inside. Sets him off. Sets him off. Again, the photo with the girl actually smiling. Starts going nuts on Dragon Boy. I think this whole situation right here was Dragon Boy trying to purposely play into Smile's weakness. And I think that's what Rock gave him that pendant for. You give him this, you show him this, it will make him angry. What is Smile's weakness? If he's not smiling, he's not at his full potential. So their whole purpose here was to entice him to get angry. And yes, technically to play into Dragon Boy's ability. Dragon Boy's ability, by all signs here, is Meliodas full counter. Every time he gets hit, it builds up this energy within him, and eventually He keeps checking. Oh, not time yet. Not time yet. Okay, it's time. Full counter. Boom, hits him. But it's not enough for Smile. Not enough for Smile. He builds it up, eventually does punch him, says he's going to send him off to hell with his daughter, and yeah, Smile retaliates, says, thanks for reminding me, boy. I know your abilities too, and you reminded me to make sure to smile because I'm at my full potential then. Smile and punch some of the crap out of him. Before, yes, Dragon Boy calls out to somebody hiding nearby. Nice. Nice is just hanging out nearby, waiting for his opportunity to jump out and reap all the benefits. And he's got a little bottle of fear. Probably got it from Shang, because Shang's messing with the fear stuff. No. No, I don't want it. I have a lot of predictions right now. But yes, this little build-up right here is basically confirming that this is what causes Nice to jump off. I literally think that's what it's going to be. This is the person he's always looked up to. He's either going to cause the death of or cause the downfall of. I don't think he's going to cause a downfall because, again, what Rock said was that no PR can take this guy down. It's got to be death. That's what they're kind of leaning to. That's why Dragon Boy is after his life. He's constantly saying, I'm going to send you to your daughter, which makes me, again, think that they literally killed the daughter. I don't think it's simply PR. Again, there's people photographing it nearby or recording it nearby, but I don't think it's going to be enough to send him over the edge. I think it's really going to turn into, whether by Nice throwing it or possibly Dragon Boy grabbing it and throwing it, that Smile will be full of fear, potentially around thinking his daughter's actually dead. The fear will overcome him, and then the two of them together take him down. They execute him, basically. Get rid of him. And again, that's going to lead Nice to being like, I literally just took out the person I've always been aspiring to become, to Smile just like, I can't take it anymore. And again, it could probably be around the idea that despite the fact they took out Smile, I'm assuming Dragon Boy probably takes that position and not Nice. Because again, when we open up with Lin Ling, Nice was not top 10. Who took the spot where Smile was? The assumption there is Dragon Boy. Dragon Boy took down Smile when he was overcome by fear, and he took his position. And thus all this stuff was for nothing. He lost the one that he was looking up to, took him out, and didn't even get that spot. Didn't even fulfill what Shang wanted. All this stuff. Again, that little encounter with Shang earlier this episode, with this little segment right here, and presumably Nice not taking that spot. That's why. Ugh. Ugh, I don't like this. I'm really liking Nice's character right now, and really hating Dragon Boy. So yeah, I think the next episode is going to open up with that bottle breaking, Smile being overcome by fear, them both taking him down, Dragon Boy getting the credit for it, possibly get a little bit more into Dragon Boy's story, because again, I don't think that can be enough. Maybe next episode opens up with a little bit more snippet of his story, because if that's it, again, like I said earlier, if that's it for his story, easily the worst character story so far. Like, that is so basic. I just don't like trash. I want to take out trash. And I think they might just cement at that point. That's why Nice jumps, and then that'll be the end of Nice's story. And then beyond that, like I said, we have technically 2 more episodes. And I'm curious what we'll end up doing with the other 2 episodes. We still got to introduce the dog character, and we still need to get into X's story. I don't really want a single episode for X, because I still want something so much more for that character. If this is it, that he's just a Joe Schmo, I guess subverted expectations, but that is subverted expectations to the realm of it's not that deep. Lol. It's not that deep. Lol, question mark. Not a great rug pull. I'm sorry. We'll see. But anyways, that is my thoughts on episode 21. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, hit the like button down below. Comment with a LOL, Andrew cooked too much with X. Comment lol, Andrew cooked too much with X. Cooked way too hard on X. He burnt that to nothingness. But if you guys want to support the channel more, become a member of the channel. Until next time, I'll take care.